Hello. This is the first of what may be quite a few Porytiles2 development updates. Sounds like some of you are interested in seeing some progress, and I feel like I want to show some of what I've been doing. So you guys might want to watch this video sped up because it might be a little bit rambly. You can see I tried to write a little bit of a script here. I'm not a video making type person, so my apologies for the low production quality here. Anyway, so let's just walk through some things. I guess the first thing I want to say is thank you to all of you who've been using Porytiles1. I know sometimes it can be a bit finicky. Porytiles2 is aiming to improve lots of the pain points from the first version, so just please hang in there. It is coming, and you can follow the progress, and you can actually try it out. I'm not doing preview releases, but the source code is available, so anyone who wants to can, of course, just clone the repo and build it and try it if they want. I'm trying to avoid being the George R.R. Martin of Porytiles here and just endlessly saying I'm working on it and never releasing it. So anyway, really quick though, you've probably seen the GitHub repo before. All the Porytiles2 stuff is in this Porytiles2 folder if you just come over here, so you can see the code. There's a few instructions on what to do to build it, if you want to try doing that yourself to play with it. But yeah, usually I'm working on a branch called 2/MVP, and then occasionally I'll merge it into the develop branch, and then I'll just recreate the branch and keep working. And you can follow some of the pull requests as well if you're interested. All the pull requests with the Porytiles2 work have these tags. Basically, once I get to what I feel like is a milestone, I'll just make a pull request and merge it, and then just keep working on the 2MVP branch again. So that's kind of how that's going. Let's see, what did I want to do next? Yeah, I'll probably do development update videos like this occasionally to showcase new features, but don't consider anything I show in any of these videos finalized product or whatever. I mean, things will definitely be changing a lot. So, and even after I do the initial release, I'm sure things will change based on feedback. So yeah, anyway, thanks for following along. Let's kind of get started here with showcasing one particular improvement that Porytiles2 is going to provide. So let's see. So let's go to Porymap really quick. So all of you are probably aware of Porytiles1 has this limitation where you really can't edit the vanilla tile sets easily, because it kind of, the way Porytiles1 would work is when you'd build your tile set, it would just automatically try to shuffle around all your tiles to be optimal, shuffle around all your palettes. So one way we're kind of mitigating this in Porytiles2 was by introducing this concept of a patch build, which is going to allow you to edit any of the existing tile sets in a way that's surgical. So I guess the first thing I should say is that Porytiles2, it's a little bit more integrated into the project structure of the Pokemon Emerald repo, sort of like Porymap. So instead of providing all of these paths for inputs and then having it just spit out output files, instead it's going to sort of assume that you're running it from your root project folder, and then it's going to go ahead and find the input files that it needs and write the output files that it needs to write without really asking for your intervention. And it's also designed to not clobber anything that you've done accidentally. So I'll kind of showcase how that's going to work. But let me just go ahead and walk through this first use case. So when you first start with Porytiles2, if you want to edit an existing tile set, the first thing you're going to do is import it. So as you can see here, this is the current state of the general tile set, right? So we have just these regular files here that are always present in your one of the vanilla tile sets. You have your tiles ping, all your palette files, meta tiles, etc. So what we can do here is let's go ahead and run Porytiles2 import tile set, and then we'll just give the name of the tile set. So you don't have to say primary or secondary, it'll figure it out. because these tile set names are unique. So if we just do import tile set general, and we'll just run the command. Okay, so let's go back here, and now we can see that there's a Porytiles folder, and our 3 layer images are present, just like you're used to. Porytiles2 doesn't handle animations yet, so I'm not going to be showcasing that, but that will all be seamless once I implement all of that, and I'll probably do a future development update there. So anyway, now that we've imported the tile set, it's now been quote-unquote imported into the Porytiles system. So Porytiles is able to manage all of these artifacts here and work completely interoperably with Porymap. You'll see there's this new file here, artifact checksums.json. You can add this to your gitignore, but it will be updated frequently when you make changes, and we'll see how that works in a second. So anyway, first things first, we did an import. Let's just go ahead and let's reload Porymap. You should see that nothing actually happens because we haven't done anything. So, okay, awesome. Let's see, let me go back to my script to see what the heck I'm supposed to do next. Okay, yeah, so the first thing you want to do after importing a tile set like this is you'll want to configure the tile set to build in patch mode. So let me show you how that works. We'll create a new Porytiles configuration file, Porytiles.yaml. So Porytiles2, the configuration, instead of providing tons of command line flags, it's going to be a layered configuration system with different places that you can put your configurations. All of this will be explained in documentation in the future. It'll be fairly straightforward, but what you're going to see here is me creating a tile set specific configuration. So basically, the configuration values that I'm putting in here will only apply when I'm compiling the general primary tile set. Okay, so to enable my patch build feature, we just do patch enabled true, and we should be good for now. So everything is defaulted other than this particular setting. So let's save it. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and make an edit. So let's see. Let's come in here. Oops, let me close that and let me reopen it. Okay, let me open these in my sprite thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a change. My changes are going to be terrible because I'm not an artist, so apologies. Let's see. So one thing we can try doing is let's just what's the simplest thing we can do? Okay, let's just showcase something that isn't going to fail. So by default, when you turn patch mode on, Porytiles will fix the tiles and the palettes. So what that means is, by default, is any changes you make to these layer sheets cannot result in new tiles to the tiles.png or new palettes, new colors in any of the existing palettes. So that's the default, which is not super useful. And we'll see in a second some of the settings you can change, but let's just go ahead and show the default for now. So if you're in this tiles fixed, pals fixed mode, really the most you can do is move things around or flip things in order to not change the tiles.png. So let's just, I don't know, let's just flip this flower. We should be able to do a flip horizontal, I don't know, whatever. This is a stupid change, but you'll just bear with me. You can see how this works. So now we'll do Porytiles2 compile tile set, and then I think it was just called general, right? So let's hit enter. Okay, it's going to run. Let's come back to Porymap here. We'll reload. Okay, yeah, now this flower got flipped. I don't know, it looks stupid. So anyway, that's a little bit less interesting. Let's put it back. Put it back. Okay, so now let's do something a little bit more interesting. Let's go here and let's set it so that the tiles can be free. So in tiles free mode in the patch compile, if Porytiles detects that your changes are going to require a new tile, it will allow them to be added to an open slot in your tiles.png. So let's take a look here. Tiles.png, as you can see, there we go. We want to use preview, right? Yes. Anywhere that there's an empty tile, Porytiles will consider that as an available to use space. And it will go ahead and add additional tiles into this tiles.png without disturbing any of the tiles that already exist here, because they may be in use by secondary tile sets. So as you can see, the general tile set has quite a few free slots. So that should give us some room to work with here. So let's go back here. And let's just go ahead and, unfortunately with the vanilla tiles, there's not really any free space. So instead of adding a new meta tile, because we don't really have room to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and change an existing one. Now, note that I'm not going to be showing the pals free mode yet, but the way that will work is that any palette slot that's set to the color 000, which is what the vanilla game tends to do if that slot isn't being used, that will be considered a free slot. And it will basically just work the way palette overrides work in Porytiles 1, where all the other colors and slots will be fixed, but it will be allowed to kind of utilize those 000 slots so that you could add some new colors. I haven't implemented that yet, so I won't be showcasing it. So I'll have to go ahead and edit the tile in such a way that it doesn't need it to use a new palette. So let's just take the blue that's here and let's just go ahead and change this so that it is going to have to generate a new tile. And again, like I said, these changes are really dumb, but they're just here for illustrative purposes. Okay, so I don't know. So anyway, say we wanted to change the sign. So we changed the sign, and say we wanted the flowers to look different. And again, like I said, pretend I'm not a terrible artist and that this was like some beautiful flower change that makes the game so much better to play or something. Okay, so we've made that change. Let's just go ahead and compile it. If you remember, we set the tiles mode here to free. So now Porytiles should be allowed to update those tiles. So we'll compile. Okay. If we come over here and we hit reload, you should see, okay, there's our changes that have been reflected. As you can see here, the scribbles that we did on the sign show up. These scribbles that we did on the flowers also show up. And none of the other assets have been disturbed. And if we go to really any map, you should see that all the signs and flowers now have those changes, right? Because all these maps are using the general tile set, which we've edited directly. If we go to the tile set editor, so what you can see here is that there's a new tile in tiles.png, so you can see it utilized some of those blank spaces. So here's the new sign tile, and I think this is the flower. Yeah, see, there's our scribble flower. And so as you can see, it didn't actually change the tile that the old sign was using. Let's see, where is that? I don't actually know where that tile is in this. Let's find the palette, and then maybe we can find it. Which palette is it? Is it palette 0? And where's the old sign? Yeah, so here's the old sign. It didn't actually adjust that, which is what you want, because maybe you had a secondary tile set that was using these tiles. You don't want to clobber these. You want to just leave these in place so that any dependent tile sets don't get affected by these changes. There's going to be way more configuration options around this in the future, so I'm going to provide a way for Porytiles to detect if you have unused assets here, and to remove unused assets, and to do all sorts of fancy things that I'm not going to be able to show in this video because they're not implemented yet. So, but the sky's kind of the limit, and of course I'll be definitely open to feedback as you guys try this out and use it. So anyway, so that's how that works. You can go ahead and make vanilla tile set edits now. Okay, cool. So let's clear these changes really quick. Or let's see, yeah, this is probably just the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we cleared these changes. I'll reload this. What else did I want to show? Let me go back to my script. Okay, yeah, I showed the free. Oh yeah, I was going to showcase an error. So let's try this. Let's re-import it again. Okay, so we've re-imported it. Everything should still be the same. Let's go ahead and make a change. So let's make that same change here. Okay, so let's save this again. So now there should be, okay. So, oops, wrong file. Open the config file for this. Gotta recreate it because I wiped it. Okay, so let's enable patch, but let's not enable the free tiles mode. But we've made changes that would have required free tiles mode to be enabled. So when we compile this, we should get an error. So let's go ahead and see that. Compile. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we're getting an error. These error messages are going to be improved. But basically, you can see the error that you got is like, hey, for a metatile 3, middle northwest, so that would be middle layer, and then northwest would be this tile. It says no matching tiles found. And that's basically saying like, hey, you compiled in fixed mode, but you created a tile here that doesn't match anything in tiles.png. And then as you can see, middle northeast also failed. And then as you can see in metatile 4, middle layer northwest, which is the one we changed, also failed. And then you get this nice fatal message here at the end that kind of gives you an overall error chain of like what went wrong. Failed to compile, and it failed to match all Porytiles tiles. So need to add a little feature in this printout so that it highlights which of these tiles it's talking about, because right now it's not immediately obvious. But it is nice in your terminal now if you have a full color terminal like iTerm2, or if you're using the WSL terminal, this should work as well, I believe. It'll actually print out your tile here so you can see what the heck it's talking about more easily. So that's kind of a nice feature. So, okay, so that's kind of what the error messages look like there. Let's clean this again. Okay, so let me see. Let me go back to a couple other things I was going to show. Yeah, okay, so let me show a little bit about those checksums I was telling you about. So one thing Porytiles2 does, it tries to integrate with Porymap in the sense of you should be able to seamlessly switch between using Porytiles to edit your tile sets and Porymap to edit your tile sets. And Porytiles provides some safety features to help prevent you from clobbering the work that you've done. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I have this other tile set that I'd already created before starting this video called Porytiles2. As you can see, it's just that example tile set that you may have seen before from some of the Porytiles tutorials. Okay, so right now it's just in a steady state. If I try to compile it, let's Porytiles2. If I try to compile it, it's going to say skipping compilation, no changes found. This error message may change, but basically what's going on here is that if we go ahead and open the checksums JSON, so all the different artifacts that Porytiles is managing, they get an entry here. And anytime Porytiles saves your tile set, it goes ahead and computes the checksum for the file that it saved and then stores it here. And then it considers that the last seen state of that file. So Porytiles is now managing every tile set file. So all the palettes, the attributes binary, the metatiles binary, your Porytiles input assets, so your layer PNGs, the tiles.png. When I add palette overrides, it'll be managing those. So basically everything is going to show up here and have a checksum. And so what's happening is I'm running the compile command and it's seeing that the current state of all the files in that tile set matched the checksums that are cached. And so it says, hey, there's nothing for me to actually do. I'm just going to skip compilation. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a change. And let's showcase an example where this is going to fail. So let's go into Porymap and let's say, hey, I want to like make some quick edits in Porymap. So I come in here and I'm going to be like, oh, I want to put some grass here and I want to do it in Porymap. So let's just do that. Okay, so take this tile and I don't know, let's set this to, or let's just leave it at normal. And let's just paint some grass here and save. Okay, so we saved it. If we look at our git diff, we can see that metatiles.bin has been updated as we would expect because we went ahead and made that change in Porymap. So if we try to compile, we're going to get an error message and it says, hey, I failed to compile this tile set because there are unimported changes present in the Porymap assets. And then it tells you which asset has the unimported changes. And that's because the checksum that Porytiles cached last time this was built no longer matches the computed checksum for this artifact. And so it actually won't let you compile because you'd be clobbering the changes you made in Porymap. And Porytiles doesn't want you to do that. So the solution would be, hey, now that we made these changes in Porymap, let's just go ahead and re-import them into Porytiles. So we can go ahead and run Porytiles2, import tile set, and then Porytiles test, I think I call it. Okay, so let's run this command, boom. Now we can see that there's some changes here. It changed all three of these layer PNGs, but some of those changes are probably just a diff in like the ping metadata. But yeah, anyway, so we refreshed, we reloaded. We can see that our change is here, and then if we actually go ahead and open it here, we should see on the middle layer, yep, see there's our there's the edits that we made in Porymap that are now showing up in our Porytiles assets. And if we go ahead and compile, so if we do compile tile set Porytiles test, it's going to say nothing to do because everything matches now, right? So what happened is there was nothing to do, then we made a change in Porymap, then we imported that change back into Porytiles, and then we go to compile, and now there's nothing to do again because everything matches up. The Porytiles assets and the Porymap assets are in sync with each other again. Okay, so let's try this now. Let's do the flip side. Let's open this on the Porytiles side, and let's make some random change. Like, I don't know, let's just draw some random crap and then save. Okay, so now if we try to run the import command, we're going to get an error. And it says, hey, you have uncompiled changes present in your Porytiles assets. And that's a typo. See, I'm already finding bugs. Uncompiled changes present in, let's fix that right now. Live bug fixes. Unimported changes present. Compile. Import. Present in Porytiles assets. There we go. All right. Anyway. All right. Back to the video. So this is telling you that, hey, you have an uncompiled change present in this Porytiles asset. And I don't want to do an import because if I do this import, it's going to clobber it. So it won't let you do the import. And in order to get this error message to go away, what you'd want to do is run Porytiles2 compile tile set and then Porytiles test. So that way these Porytiles changes get reflected in the Porymap assets. So we'll run it. Oh, okay. See, now we're seeing some new error messages. So we can see here actually the reason why this is failing is because this is a default Poke Emerald project, and so it's dual layer metatiles. And we went ahead and added some stuff to the middle layer where the bottom and the top layer already had content. So it's telling us that, hey, there's basically non-transparent content on all three layers, but it's also telling you that you have dual layer enabled. So that's another Porytiles2 thing. You no longer have to specify dual layer explicitly. It's going to figure it out by reading your header file, if it exists, your fieldmap.h file. And you'll be able to override this as well through the configuration. So it's complaining about that. So anyway, that was a bad change on my part. So dumb example. But yeah, so that's kind of how the checksum feature works. So it's basically allowing you to go between editing in Porymap and editing in Porytiles totally seamlessly. And then Porytiles will prevent you from accidentally clobbering something that you did in one of the two editors. And it's usually pretty straightforward to figure out how to get back to a state where everything is okay. You can disable the checksum feature. So let me just get rid of all these changes really quick. And I'll go ahead and open the config file for this. Okay, so I got a porytiles.local.yaml. Yeah, so see I have verified checksums here set to true. This is the default. So you don't actually have to specify it because that's the default. But if you set it to false, then it will skip that checksum verification step that I showed you, and it'll just go ahead and clobber whatever's there. So if you don't want the checksum verification or you find it annoying or whatever, you can always just disable it for a particular tile set by setting verified checksums to false in that tile set's config. You could also disable it globally by editing a Porytiles YAML file in your project's root folder. Anyway, I have dumb sample values here because I was testing things. But you could do verify checksums here to false. And then no matter what tile set you're compiling, it'll go ahead and disable checksum verification, which you could overwrite. So for example, if I have it set globally to disable checksum verification, but I do want checksums for a specific tile set, the tile set specific config will overwrite the global config. So that's something you could do. Anyway, this, like I said, this will all be documented, so you'll be able to just read documentation on how this configuration stuff works, and it's going to ideally be able to support pretty much any workflow. So I'm trying to make things flexible. As you can see here, like there's the Porytiles local file. You may have seen this with other tools, but the idea there is that you can check in your Porytiles.yaml files for like if you're working on a project with other people. But if you want some specific configs that don't get checked in that are different from like your shared config, you can put them in a Porytiles.local.yaml, and that will take precedence. So that's kind of the idea there. Okay, I think the last thing I wanted to show was, oh yeah, just a couple more like of the error message examples. So, okay, let's do one more. We'll do Porytiles2, compile tile set, and then this is like a junk tile set I made that fails everything. So you can just see what this looks like. So anyway, this fails a bunch of validations. And if you're following the Discord, you may have seen a screen cap of this already. But so what this is showing is like, hey, when we ran this command, we can see it failed to compile this tile set, and the reason why is because it encountered errors while validating the Porytiles metatiles, and then it shows you all the errors it encountered. So for example, it found 520 metatiles, and the limit was 499. It found pixels with invalid alpha channel values. It found some tiles with more than 15 unique non-transparent pixels. As you know, that doesn't work because a Game Boy palette only has 16 slots, so you can't have a tile with like 25 unique colors in it. Oh, okay, here's another typo bug. This shouldn't be alpha channel validation. It should be, I think, global unique color violation or something, so I need to fix that. But it found 34 global unique colors, and the limit is 30. And we'll see in a second why the limit is 30. And then it also found metatiles with mismatched implied layer mode. So that means, hey, we have a dual layer project, but it found metatiles that have content on all 3 layers. So that obviously isn't going to work unless you set up triple layers. So let's go ahead and look at some of the error messages in more detail. So this fatal chain, basically whenever Porytiles fails, it's going to give you a fatal chain, and it's going to give you like a global thing that failed. So in this case, hey, the tile set compilation failed. But then what it's going to go ahead and do is it's going to give you a more detailed chain of what actually went wrong. So here it shows you, hey, this compilation failure was caused by a compilation job failure, which was caused by an error during validation, and then it shows you which validations failed. But then usually what happens is there's actual error messages that get printed on the fly that will be above the fatal chain that will give you a little bit more details about what went wrong. In this case, it's a bit overwhelming because I deliberately set this up so that everything failed. So there's like a bazillion error messages, but obviously usually there won't be this many. So you can see here, hey, too many metatiles in our Porytiles component. Metatile limit exceeded. And then it shows you that the limit is 499 due to this configuration. So in the Porytiles config file for this tile set, I set num metatiles primary to 499 explicitly. So by default, Porytiles will read this from your project's header file, but you could also override it for a specific tile set if you want to, if you're trying to do some testing or you're just trying to mess around with something. So I went ahead and set this to a number that was less than the number of metatiles I had there in order to trigger this error. So anyway, here's the alpha channel error violation, right? It's highlighting that this pixel here has an invalid alpha channel value of 200. Porytiles wants you to either have alpha channel be 0 for transparent or opaque 255. So it's just telling you that that was invalid. Here is the tile color count violation. It's telling you that the northwest tile in this metatile here found a 16th unique color at this pixel. And that's invalid because you can only have 15 unique colors. And then it's showing you the color counts in that tile. So that might be useful if you accidentally put a stray pixel somewhere. I should probably have this color counts thing highlight the color of the 16th unique color. But anyway, so it's showing you that, hey, this green is 12 pixels, this green is 10 pixels, and that might be useful to you to figure out like what went wrong. Anyway, so here's the same error again on a different tile. Here's the global color count violation. So I found 34 unique global colors and the limit is 30. And then here's just a dump of all the unique colors that are present in your tile set and their pixel counts. I'm going to actually add a command called like find color, and you'll be able to just run like Porytiles2 find tile set color and then your tile set name and then the color value, and it will print out pictures of all the meta tiles with highlights for where that color is. And so that'll be useful, for example, if you're like, hey, what the heck is this red? How did this get in here? Where is it? You'll just be able to run that find color command and find the red and eliminate it if, for example, you accidentally put a stray red color there that you didn't want. So that's something I'll showcase in a future video. But anyway, it found 34 unique colors and the limit is 30. And the limit is 30 because of the configuration that I set. So it's showing you, hey, the color limit definition is numpals primary times non-transparent colors per pal. So here it's saying there's 2 primary palettes times 15. That's 30 unique colors. And the reason numpals primary is 2 is because I explicitly set that in the YAML. So again, that normally would read from your header file, but in this case I've overridden it in the YAML, so it's showing you that that's what's happening, and that's why you're seeing this error. Then some of these other errors here are the layer mode stuff that we saw earlier. It's a dual layer project, but we have content on all 3 layers for some of these tiles, so that's not allowed. And it goes ahead and shows you why. So in this case it says, hey, the implied layer mode is dual due to this configuration. So in my case it's reading it from the config file, but for most of you it'll probably just be reading it from the header file. And so what you'll see here, instead of a YAML printout, it'll be a printout of that header file and then showing you the configuration that it's reading. And so in this case, none tiles per meta tile is 8, so that means we can't have triple layer content. And it goes ahead and says, hey, maybe consider enabling triple layer metal tiles, and then here's how you do it. You would have to set this config to 12, either in the header file or in an override. And then you could follow the steps at this wiki page, which many of you probably have seen before. So, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of a preview of what errors are going to look like in Porytiles2. They're going to be a bit more descriptive and hopefully more helpful so that you can figure out what went wrong more easily. And yeah, I think that's really all I wanted to show off for this development update. The next development update, I'm probably going to show the actual bin packing palette assignment working, and I may try to show some other additional things that I'm cooking up right now. So that's kind of what I'm working on next. I haven't implemented the new bin packing yet, so I'm going to probably start working on that next. And I may showcase the patch build again, but with palettes set to free so that it can showcase the bin packing. And yeah, I also need to work on animation compilation. So I didn't show that here because I haven't worked on it, but I do have some plans to make the animation compilation symmetric. So Porytiles1, you couldn't decompile animations, and it also wouldn't generate the C code for you, but Porytiles2 it will do that. And so the kind of import, compile, import flow that I showed off here should work seamlessly with animations as well. So, yep, that's kind of the idea there. And like I said, there will be future development update videos to show progress on that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And once again, I would like to thank all of you for using this tool and for providing so much useful feedback and finding bugs. And yeah, I'm really enjoying developing Porytiles2, and I hope that when it does come out that you guys enjoy using it and that you find it to be a valuable tool for building really awesome hacks. So anyway, have a great day, y'all. Catch you in the next development update.